Hi everyone, I'll wait for people to connect. I'm just looking at my deck of cards and I'm like, which ones am I going to use? I was going to come to you guys last night. I do want to do an energy check, and I also want to give you guys an update that tomorrow, I'm hoping this isn't lagging, I will be doing an update for the moon energy for January. Okay, so I want to get it in ahead of time so that we can actually look at the aspects I have covered in your charts for each zodiac sign for January. So if you have looked at the premiere and you've clicked the bell and you're a subscriber of the channel, you get a bit of a unique read that is going to be covering your astrology aspects, my psychic intuition connected to various placements, and there is the romance read connected inside it. So it's quite an overall read moving into 2020. It's going to give you some foresight into the way you're dealing with Aries and Chiron. Hi, Elizabeth. The connection of different placements in your chart that can be coming up, what subject matters potentially you guys could be working on, moving through 2020. Now, as I've mentioned, we do have the nodes changing in March. Now, I have mentioned that inside the videos, and obviously month by month I'll cover the astrology and I'll also come to you and do the psychic energies. I'm super surprised I've managed to, over Christmas, get all those videos recorded. It's very different in a sense that I have put a little bit of a commercial at the beginning of it, obviously, for those of you that are new. Thanks, Madonna. You too, sweet. So different people that do find the channel actually know what I do, what we do here, what the tribe is. So the commercial at the beginning is to give everyone else a heads up as to what this channel represents. Now, I will at the moment be doing month by month zodiac signs. If I can get organised in January and the astrology is not killing me, I will try and get a mid-month done, even if it is to come to you guys live. So I do want to get it to the point where it'll be monthly and mid-month. And then really tune into Twin Flame Collective, the energy updates, the moon phases. So those are going to be regular things that are going to be on the channel, and they have been anyway. And then creatively speaking, I'll be having interviews with other individuals. Now, January is pretty heavy, as we all know, but separate to that, a lot of the things that have been coming to me as a download, there's been a lot of Mercury related energy, and it's really ironic how energetically we don't realize how strong our intuition is. And it's very similar to the way in which a psychic tunes into a situation, which is what I've been preaching on the channel for a long time. If you're tuning into an energy, you need to then tune out and smudge stick yourself. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I have noticed synchronistically, tuning into 2020, looking at the astrological aspects, there's been a lot of Mercury related dynamics playing out. And with the nodes changing into Gemini, those are the real subject matters that are going to be coming up. It's the nodes in Gemini is connected to Mercury. We're also going to have Sagittarius nodal energy. So it's going to be Gemini and Sagittarius. But also Saturn is going to be transitioning into Aquarius. So I have made mention of that. Some of the videos I've mentioned how that's going to directly impact you. But this is a hugely transformative time, okay? So with the communication, communication, 90% of it is body, right? So energy is looking at energy work, looking at technology, a lot of those subject matters, especially with Uranus going direct, a lot of those subject matters will come up. But I'll mention that in the video. And I do find that many of you at the moment, you might be experiencing headaches. You may be getting like your crown chakra and your third eye. And again, just be super cautious tuning into future tense. It's very natural to be doing that at this stage, especially for many of you that are moving into a transitional state that will be coming into union in 2020. It's like a third eye purge, okay? So you're looking at it, you're finding this inner peace, and then you're bouncing back, and then you're getting to a point where you might feel very sad, very, very humanistic, okay? So it's kind of it feels like a bipolar energy. I'll just explain it that way. So at times you will feel this innate energy of peace and acceptance, and then it will bounce back to, the 7 stages of healing, anger, resentment, or anything to that degree that might come up, fear-based frequency, overwhelming sadness, and then back down to the tranquility of peace. If you find yourself getting triggered, obviously you need to look at it, but at the same time, what you're going to need to understand is it's the finalization stage to prepare you. Now, many readers will say, especially when they tune into it, allow the person to come correct. But the thing is, we never have control over other people. And energetically, if you're TFs, you directly are connected in, okay? Thanks, Andrew. Same to you. So, energy is everywhere. If you are that energy, their energy is upgrading too. We do get 2-3D with these things where we're looking at them very much from a very ego, humanistic kind of mindset, right? If you actually know that you've changed and you have control of your navman and you have control of your life, how anyone comes towards you, you directly cannot control, okay? So thanks, Star. Any questions we'll leave to the end because I don't want to have to then backtrack. So if you're wanting a question, I'll note that down and I'll remember that at the end. So with it, you've got to come to an understanding that if your TF is coming towards you and you're having to assess, are they coming correct? You'll know if the person is because they're willing to directly work with you. And nobody is in a humanistic experience going to come to you perfectly, quite frankly. So if your ego is there stating that because of a past tense situation, that person has to come leaps and bounds because we look at the cards in tarot and it's like, coming as a page or coming as a knight or coming as an emperor. The reality is we come in different stages, right? But at the same time, if that person is energetically willing to build with you, that's a very different situation. And if in fact you feel, oh, is this the right time? It is always the right time because every person that is directly connected to us in a soul tribe connection is there to upgrade us. Our ego at that point in time, due to a transitional stage we've been through, may be saying we're higher than them. But that again is ego, and there will be something that you visually are not seeing that is occurring for both of you to master that situation. And there's some of the work you will do in a very different state, and that will be within reunion union. So I did make mention during the air that I do feel those of you, especially for YouTubers, okay, YouTubers that have been talking in terms of twin flame journey, etc., very similar to what happened to me this year. The work that you do in that connection and both on yourself is part of your upgrade. And for me, an energetic upgrade within reunion union, you find you get union with self, but then when you do come back in, it will become more complicated to connect with the outside world, especially with the astrology. So it will all very much depend on astrologically the things that are playing out. It'll also then come down to the blockages you had, past life connection situations. 2020 is a deeply transformative year. Yeah, we could say, hey, the nodes being in Gemini, 2020, dual energy, it can be connection for twins, yes. But again, it does come down to your spiritual healing. And I mean, if we do really look at that and we know that the key to union is doing the work, the inner work is and I totally understand now when I was saying at the beginning of the year that we needed to get to a point where, like a Buddhist monk, and we can deal with adversity and challenges and vibrations and not look at them so negatively. I do feel spiritually, and some of you may feel this as well, depending on where you are in your journey, you do get there because you will look at where people are coming from in a pain body experience. And it won't trigger you any longer because you have been there, and you won't feel hate, resent, angst. You just very much are quite awake, so to speak. So you're aware of where it's coming from. You also understand it's a process, and Rome wasn't built in a day. So you're not going to be putting the pressure on yourself when those triggers do come up. But within reunion, you will find that a lot of things will come up, but you'll be checking yourself more so. So many of you that are anxious, thinking, when is this going to come? Really look at this as a very quiet time. You also do need to come to a space where you're very, very comfortable with being by yourself, but then that becomes problematic as well because sharing space, the reality is the TF journey, you are a singular energy. You also are are a dual energy, but it's being able to master that where you can have that unique light within yourself, which was breaking the codependent patterns, but at the same time actually be able to dance with another individual and directly change your routine, because changes are inevitable. Births, deaths, and endings, so to speak, with Pluto, they're inevitable. The Taurian energy coming through in Uranus is also the changes, both at a financial level, changing dynamics, changing our mindset and the way we're doing things. And it's merging two energies together to finding that common ground. Okay, so it's not as simple as, as soon as, especially when you've been looking at videos for a long time, you even purge certain reader types because you've evolved beyond that point. So at first you may want to know what they're thinking, and then you'll be purging that. Then you might want to be looking at where they are energetically. That's a different stage of healing. Then you're checking in with yourself. That again is a different stage of healing. So you'll transition through and you'll be evolving. So some readers you'll go to, you'll move away from them for a while, then you'll return because you're at that stage in your journey where you're looking at the perspective of it from different angles. You also will find that you will directly deal with particular energies that TF did similarly in a different time space. But there also is this energy at the moment that we're really time jumping at the moment. Okay, so it's like we're in two paradigms. We're in two locations at the moment. We very much already are in 2020. And I was having this debate with my TF this morning, and he said, "But you're here." I said, "Yeah, energetically in the 3D I'm here, but 5D I'm not here, I'm there." Because obviously being psychic, I'm tuning into the energy. So tuning into it, knowing full well of the aspects that are coming, you already will particularly start vibrating that frequency and having those hunches, those intuitions as to what's going to occur. But you do need to smudge stick yourself and, be very mindful of how you look after your vessel. Now, some of you at the moment might be super hungry. Others of you may be completely nauseated. So again, it depends on the cycle of the journey you're in. We are to get into light body frequency, but you always do need to pay attention to what your body's asking for, okay? It's speaking to you. If it's from a trigger point of view, that's very different. But if it's coming from the perspective of it's craving certain things and it's needing certain things, you need to adhere to it and gently kind of incorporate that in. Definitely the crown chakra I'm seeing quite active, so we need to keep our fluids up. And I did speak about this during the year in astrology, that we do need to be looking at different ways we can balance ourselves out, getting into light body frequency, because the astrology in January is so heavy. So I have mentioned all your zodiac signs, particular crystals. I have pulled gemstones in the zodiac signs. I've also pulled different areas. So wanting to really hone in on the energy, both with your astrology, with your overall life, and the way you're looking at love as well as your romance house, so that you can fine-tune that. But the crystals I have made mention of is obviously connected to the higher you ascend, you become quite psychic. So you're directly empathic, so to speak. You're an empath. You will need the amethyst, but you also need to start documenting how the crystals directly relate and react to you. You can have overdose of crystals, okay? So some can be overactive, some can deplete. I do have one that's very old. This was amethyst. This now has served its purpose. So the tourmaline and onyx are very useful for psychic protection. There is going to be a lot of the reads that were coming through. And depending on where you are in the world, you can literally look at, which I am going to be talking about in 2020, how different locations are directed to certain chakras. There's also the energy of the serpent energy that comes through, which is being activated, and that can be with planets making particular aspects. I know for Australia, it's very solar plexus orientated. And again, very similar to chakras, when you do read up on them, some of them start from the base with the planets, some of them start from the crown and start with the planets. So it's almost like the yin and yang theory, okay? So with your diet, pay attention to what you're eating, but definitely I'd suggest amethyst, okay? But If you feel you're getting psychically bombarded, move away from it and use Tumbaline and drink fluid. But make sure that you cleanse your crystals so they can be washed with salt water, because we're not going to have time for this next moon phase. It's going into Cancer. It's going to be the eclipse. Also, get your chakra crystals, because with the aspects of Saturn, Pluto, you know, and the Mercury energy coming through, we're going to have throat chakra happening. Crown chakra, obviously, foundation, you know, family, base chakra. So having your chakra crystals charged and cleansed, and use them to ease yourself into 2020. But again, keep your fluid up, okay? If you are feeling triggered, take your shoes off, take some time for yourself, create space. If there's challenges and adversity you're dealing with Pluto, yes, it can bring endings. But the thing is, endings have forever been happening, okay? So you can take it in leaps and strides. And I've mentioned in each zodiac sign what particular areas will or may come up for you. This can be internal or external to you. You may even be 2 steps ahead. So don't get paranoid about it. Just be in the moment. And when things occur, if you can sort it, sort it. If you can make peace with it, can be old energies because it's dual, right? We're going to have Saturn and Capricorn with Pluto in the conjunction. We're also having the eclipse in Cancer, which is 2 nodal energies playing out simultaneously. So it is almost like a double, so to speak. It's like a double eclipse when you look at it really energetically, because it's 2 of the nodal energies playing out in the subject matter in a conversational piece. So this can be in work and career. And again, I have directly stated in the videos that are released where that is for you, how that could shape out for you. I've also looked at the Cancer eclipse as well, and if I haven't mentioned it, I will be mentioning it on the video that I do come to you tomorrow live. So I'll put a time in the community tab. More than likely, it'll be in the morning after I have dropped my daughter off and, yeah, the girls, so to speak, and then I can come to you guys live. So I will be also answering questions during that moon update and astrology update, but I am going to grab some cards. So how have we been transitioning? So I'm saying third eye activation, crown chakra at the moment. Cautious of your base chakra, and definitely with Mercury, some of you may be feeling quite emotional when it does come to your communication. It might be you're thinking something and the way it's coming up is like a pain body experience, which I'm feeling it's heart chakra and throat chakra going on in a purgatory state. And definitely when I tuned into the videos for January, in some zodiac signs, it was deeply emotional but accepting. So it was like the conversational piece that was coming through was emotional but accepting. That's all I'll say. Wait to have a look at the videos. None of them were negative, I will say. None of them were negative. I think we all have done a great deal of work on ourselves. And we're really taking that accountable frequency with the Capricorn energy coming through. So I do feel with the trainer wheels of what we've dealt with in 2019, which has been super challenging for a lot of people, we are really ready and prepared for 2020. But we need to go in with a neutral mind and the mindset that we have all the tools at our disposition. Now, yes, collective energy is very different, as well as, you know, what can happen very external to us, which can be in multimedia, can be on the news. It's correlating with, you know, the astrology in a fairmonger sense. Yes, we could look at it negatively, but we can't control that. What can we control? Our own vessel, our own domain, and our mindset connected to it. And also the notion that when you're trying to find peace in situations, the reality is hurt people, right? So if we can then externally look at a situation and understand, if we knew now what we knew back then, we would have reacted differently with certain situations, but then we wouldn't have been the people we are today. So some things have their natural flow where they're meant to occur to change and shift the collective. So we do need to trust that Mother Nature knows best. And follow through with whatever we're guided to do. Now, I'm going to grab some cards, and I'm wondering which ones to choose. Definitely the chakra deck. So we're going to tune into feminine and masculine. How are we? How are you, Fem Coach? I hope this isn't lagging. Please tell me if it's lagging. We've gone all quiet in the house. And he's listening to me. I always get paranoid when he listens to me. Yeah, we'll go hard and nasty with these ones. This is my opinion to TF Journey. It's true. One time. Got to have comedy in life. That's another thing, you know, comedy is great healing. So if you're getting super serious, and again, the third eye activation at the moment. Okay, triggered, just chatting with TF. I have nothing nice to say. Why, Fem Coach? What's up? Everything is divinely guided. You are in the right place and at the right time and the right mindset. Is it because potentially you are tuning in and you feel they are miles behind? Not so. Sometimes what they say, they actually test you. Okay, I'm just saying, no. You got nothing nice to say. Oh. Yeah, my twin and I have one. We're very accepting of people in all walks of life. How do you handle communication blocks? Well, if they're talking to you, keep it in the here and now. Right. If you're needing to say something of the past, just be truthful. And if it has a cause and effect, there's a cause and effect. Disconnect from it. Trying to figure out what it's trying to teach me. Be in the moment, though. They're not what, Dale? Communicating. Then keep focusing on self. Almost detach like it's not necessary. Because the more you detach, the better it is. You know, a lot of them say send love and light. No, the more you shift your energy onto you, I'm telling you, anytime I have legitimately got grounded and just completely focused on myself, it's been focused. Okay, I'm just saying it takes time, but you get 3D and then you're like, no, this is a humanistic experience. This is not a spiritual connection. This is not real. I've been kidding myself. Blah blah blah. As soon as you shift your energy into detachment, just saying. But you're stuck because it's a loop. And at the end of the year, this is very much, you know, what I was going through last year. Yeah, there is a lot of meditation at the moment, but I'm tuning into the masculine energy. I will be looking at it. They're very fatigued at the moment. So you will find that even things you haven't seen that they've directly dealt with, they actually have dealt with a great deal of challenges this year. To upgrade, especially if you have been behind right in your life, what you find is that catch-up factor, that's full on. And I've witnessed it this year, so I mean, it's full on. And I was like, wow, if I was a masculine, no, I take my hat off to them, honestly. Yeah, don't even try and empty it, okay? Mystic 111. What I found was I was trying to play it out of my head, and then then I had to come back to detachment, and it was, am I micromanaging the conversation or playing it out of my head? Yeah, and it's never going to go the way you think it is. So it's kind of pointless even thinking about it. Be in the moment for when it occurs and let it go. Got to let it go. Yeah, and the thing is, how do I put it? You know, I was listening to some ascended masters and, you know, gurus, etc., and they were talking about the fact that many of us don't know what love is, and I think TFs really do learn that. Because love is where you are investing in a situation, okay, without the expectation you're getting something back. And really, in the beginning stages, feminines, that's what you do, right? But you're needing to make peace with that. There were consequences in your opinion, so it comes from a pain body experience, but it was still coming from a place of love. Yes, some of us still had that blockage where we were feeling, but we're doing it not just because we do, but because we want something, and that's evolved now. So it's almost an anger with ourselves off from the Nephilim we were operating from. But we're different people now, so it's pointless looking at that. It's take a step forward from here of where we're going. Sometimes what you ask for is not what they were. A lot of times it's always the mirror inside ourselves. You know, it's what we're supposed to learn. I also realized that a lot of what I was accidentally manifesting, the things that were playing out in my life, how do I put it? Things that were playing out in my life, I energetically went back to very 3D, and I was like trying to get into 5D, so I was mastering both, but there was a lesson that was being learned, and one of it was very much in order to manifest effectively, especially to unmanifest something that had been manifested in a belief system and a karmic energy internally to self, was make peace with it and take it as it was a day's lesson. And as soon as you did that, energy shifted. But when you're tuning into it in infinite potentiality, you're holding it there because you're stagnant. Your ego is blocking it, which is why Tesla always talked about, you know, manifestation, but he was quite detached from society. So he was a very inspirational manifester. But at the same time, when there's something at stake, right, and you're getting 3D, you directly block it. So when I was really challenged, I had different people working with me, and I was thinking, why the devil is this happening? Because, you know, this is not my energy. Why is this occurring? Why am I visually seeing this, experiencing this vibration? I won't go into details of what it is because it doesn't matter. As soon as Luciana said to me I needed to accept it, and I had Adam, who's here now in Australia now, saying to me it's something I need to move through. And then I meditated on it for a while. And as soon as I came to a place of acceptance, the next day, everything shifted. But it was taking it for today instead of tuning in like through the matrix, because that's manipulating the matrix, and energetically you don't need to. You're manipulating your own matrix because you're feeling energetically, solar plexus, sacral chakra, you're being triggered, you don't want to, and at the same time you're tuning into it in the future, so you're allowing it to be here from the present to the future. But if you take it just from this one day moment, you've erased the potentiality of it occurring in the future. Does that make sense? So that's why it's really important to actually heal, because if you're tuning into despair, angst, conflict, always going to be the way you articulate TF journey, you are in fact writing that journal. You're writing that script. So the detachment is necessary. So you've got to look at the reconnection as a fresh canvas when you're coming back onto it. And you're not going to go into it completely as a fresh canvas, I'll be honest with you. You'll have work to do. Old things will come up, but you need to keep coming back to the now, rubbing it out, you know, upgrading, opening the communication channel and proceeding forward. And we're doing that through our whole life. But if you are in fact stuck, no communication, it's because you're energetically tapping into the future sense of this is going to be the same forever. And that's problematic. So you're directly blocking your process. But a lot of you are going to gain communication very soon because you're bouncing from detachment and peace. Guilt and fear will come up, and then you're coming back to peace again. And the more you can come back into peace, which is it's going to happen naturally. You can't micromanage it. It's just making peace with love is love, that you are love, that it is love. That doesn't need a label, it is what it is. And the more you can do that, the better you will be in the situation. Let's look at masculine's energy. Now, crowning energy, which again, I already said this, you got black obstinate, which is what I held up, right? Pay attention to what is going on around and within me. I am attentive. Okay, Black Stone. I'll read the reversal. Release negative thoughts. You're attracting what you're tuning into in the future. There was a show that came on Netflix, and I wouldn't mind if you guys went and Googled it. It may have a message in it. Just look at the commercial, and it's called Dark. And if I do find it, I'll link it in the actual tab. And it was funny because the analogy they have, they've got photos on the wall, and it's past, present, future. And it's of one person, and then a different person, then a different person. And they were talking about the cause and effect inside this commercial of this series that's coming up here in Australia. And it could be anywhere in the world, so it's already launched in other places. Now, in this, it was how the past affects the future, but the future can be affected by the past. But it's like this the way they've articulated it is quite unique. I don't remember it word by word, but you need to hear what it says. It's quite profound. And I sat there and I had to think on that, because the thing is, when you're upgraded, right, and you're tuning into the future, you're directly taking the past with you into the future. So detachment is necessary, but other people energetically, which is what I'm really picking, and I'll mention this in the moon video if I remember. I may write that down somewhere, that some of these energies that are coming with us are directly connected to karma, karmic. They could be kin, it could be DNA, it could be mother, father, sister, brother, co-workers. Now, if their energy hasn't upgraded and they're directly connected in a tree umbilical cord to all these cycles, they can potentially, as much as you've upgraded, they can potentially hold you back till they upgrade. Now, you can proceed forward, and you still will upgrade regardless, but it's really going to pull them up where they've got to. But they can potentially hold you back, and if it's not divinely guided, certain people will walk away from certain related dynamics because it hinders their growth. So that is the natural evolution of it. It's like a plant growing in a pot. If it can't fit that pot, it's going to drop its roots out of the pot and start moving. So it can evolve. It'll blow the seeds out where it can move elsewhere. It grows. So if you're hindered in your growth, divine masculine, divine feminine, whoever you are, you're not going to remain at that level. You're always going to grow. Release negative thoughts. Maintain attention on the present moment, which is what I suggested to you guys. Increase situational awareness. What now is happening? What now is coming up? Not what you can fix in the future or what happened in the past versus looking to the future and how would I deal with it, which is a conversational piece a couple of you had in the feed. What would I say to them? How would I go? Don't even think about that, because you don't know. How do you know the way they'll come? How do you know what they'll say to you? Some of those things, even in a trigger sense, that come up in your mind, think about it and then let go and understand you don't have control over that. Improve responsible thoughts and actions. Okay, if you're spending so much time thinking on it, you're going to start getting a third eye headache, which is some of you in the feed. I'm definitely picking up on it. Neck ache and headache. Okay. Now, I'm going to pick 2 piles for masculine energy. Because of the way they've fallen out. Okay, the first pile is feminine's belief as to what masculine's doing. What the devil has happened here? Okay, well, those obviously are what's going on, so I'll leave them there. The next pile is what actually is going on. Okay. Current energy. Okay. I've got the card here. Okay, I can't make it up. I've got third-party energy. I would like to know, in your opinion, what the direct problem is from your own perspective. Just hit me with a few words. And then I'll break it down into what's really happening, right? Collectively. Fem Coach, hit me with it. What do you think of this, Dale? Because we've been manifesting here and it's problematic. Fear of rejection. Them or you. Karmic partner. Okay. Yep. Which doesn't mean it's wrong, all right? It's just where you're fearing rejection, but everyone loves you, Femme Coach. Why would someone reject you? Have you seen that awesome house? Okay, the reason I'm saying this is third-party energy can be a person, place, or thing. It can be a past tense event. The crowning energy in your belief is they're stuck, okay? But when you're tuning into history repeating itself, you're enabling that because you're tuning into the future sense. Because the pain body experience is childhood wounds, right? But it's also how we developed that coping mechanism, and then something then triggers a pain body experience again of a different situation. And straight away we go to that slot in the library, and it's like, that's going to happen again. You're then tuning into the future that that's going to happen. So therefore you haven't actually dissolved that reality, because you can get a newbie and they can do the same to you, but are you okay? Do you come to it correct? If you come to it correct, that's all you can do. That is your power. If it becomes incorrect, you then choose what is correct for you. It's being in the moment at all times, right? Now, this energy of the Three of Swords energy, you're tuning into it, feminines, as an infinite potential within this person's energy. Now, look back in your own life, right? Pause. Look back in your own life where potentially we allowed external energies to navigate the way we saw things. This is even our masculine. So the masculine, in a sense, of the way we were operating as human beings, could have been one of those swords, okay? It could have been friends, could have been mother, father, it could have been a partner, a karmic partner, right? But you've changed, right? So then why in a belief system do you believe this person as a masculine has no ability to achieve that? Regret, sorrow, fear, dealing with abandonment related issues, taking accountability. As you have done this, that's all you can control, but you can't control how they do this, and how they're doing it is differently, but they are doing it. But your belief is, because you're not visually seeing it, hearing it, experiencing union, that it hasn't happened, okay? But feeling vibration and reality is tuning into the 5D, tuning into the spiritual connection, and actually looking at your own path and realizing it has been achieved with you. So detachment does come from not needing to do that, and also can come from childhood where you're believing that unless you give something, it's going to get taken, right? And because you have been educated that there is a consequence for an action when it comes to being open, vulnerable, loving, giving. You gave because you gave, right, to this situation. If chapters weren't closed and you were aware of it, you were different back then to how you are now. So how you directly relate to this now is going to be different. So it won't look the same in the future. Does that make sense? Now, it's also you feel they've got power, but then you're bouncing back into, you know, this going on, and that it's their job to come. It's their job to move things. You're even intuitively tuning into, by the Cancer moon phase, that this potentially should be here, like we're running out of time, because you want this energy to come together. But you also feel that it's killing you waiting, and that, you know, is this over? So it's like this bouncing energy, but then you bounce back to this energy where you're believing that they aren't stuck and they can free themselves. So you've got this multicultural viewpoint as to what's going on, and that's problematic, because by tuning into it, you're tuning into it from, if this is you and you're tuning into it from those perspectives, you're sending all of this into January. And you don't want to do that. Three of Swords energy. Acknowledge the fact that in the past we have done this too. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the way they've done it, but we have been in connections where potentially we haven't been open, or we've felt that we've had to be something inside a situation. You know, we have had to leave situations, jobs, people, places, things, partnerships, but that wasn't. Some of it might have been to do with your TF. Other of it really wasn't. It was to do with the fact that you evolved and changed. Okay? And this was their energy very separately. They're evolving and changing, and they're having their own process, and that is unconditional love, is to actually look at them and understand the complexity. And the nodes in Gemini are going to articulate that to us, the complexity of situations. It's not all black and white. And really having 2 years of the nodes being in Gemini, it's going to give us an aha moment about those things, about miscommunication, words not said, why we didn't articulate those things, because we were working from a pain body experience. So we felt there was a consequence for an action. The old analogy I use when I speak to you and I say, we were taught that if we're good, we get an ice cream, and then the ice cream truck broke down. So does that mean we weren't good? And does that mean that we shouldn't operate at a high level and be good because there's a consequence for being good? You're choosing to be good because it's your choice. But somehow through this pain body experience, feminines, potentially you feel, well, what's the point of being good? Because I keep getting punished. But you're being good and you're showing love because it's your energy and it's your vessel. It's who you are. You're punishing yourself for being that because potentially there was an expectation. But it doesn't mean to say that you're not going to get your fruits and you're not going to get your beauty and your wonder. It's you're planting the seeds of love throughout the world and towards divine masculine. And this too shall pass. It's like, don't look at it as it's over because a person reacted in a certain way. Have the compassion and understanding that they're learning to accept themselves. And it's a big job. It's taken us a long time to get where we are. Yes, we all have power, and this is healthy to look at this situation this way. This person is empowering themselves. They can liberate themselves, and it's healthy to look at that. But when you find yourself then looping into this thing of an ego experience of it's got to be near the eclipse or it's got to be them coming to me, not necessarily. Be open to it. I went through that in 2017, 18, right? And I was sitting there and I would always check my ego. And ego's not a dirty word. There's good and the bad, right? Light and dark, I should say. With it, there can be someone that's done wrong to you. It doesn't mean you can't be the bigger person. And it's you. Does it have to go a certain way? If the person's open, the communication can happen. And this, conversational piece came up this week in various situations. And it was like getting two cultures in a room and telling them to believe what each other believe. And it's not who's right, who's wrong. They're two viewpoints, right? And they're not going to be the same. So if you've had a dispute and you bring two viewpoints into a room and both of them are standing firm that my belief's right, your belief's right, it's a pointless conversation because it's going to go nowhere. And if the intent is only to disagree, then why are you meeting in the room for? Quite frankly, okay? Understand you're different. Understand they're different. When my energy healer tuned into DM. But remember, energy shifts real quick, love. It shifts very quick. And at the moment, the intuition, I'll tune into this in a moment, it's quite tactical. The mental prison at the moment is this, right? Because it depends on their given situation in their life. Is it a work-related dynamic? We've had the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. Is it a family-related dynamic? It's not a quick switch, right? It's some people have children. Some people have financial investments. And it's like the magic tooth fairy coming and waving their wand and everything's balanced. No, there's steps to take. There can be people that are moving out of one situation into another, which can be divorce. And you think, oh, the paperwork's done, so therefore it's movement. No, there's a time of healing. The connection was there. There's a time of healing. So directly it depends on what is going on. But again, when we're tuning into it, we're placing pressure on energies, and we even do this to ourselves. We need to get to a point of being fluid in the one moment instead of having expectation. Because if we're doing that to masculine, we're damn straight doing that to ourselves, and that's unhealthy. I don't put a time frame on my healing, and I have things come up, and I go really far in some areas, and I can go 20 steps back, and that's perfectly okay. We're conditioned to look at time, we're conditioned to look at our body clock and say, oh, but maybe some of those dreams that you had aren't relevant, right? Because time has changed, but you should be living your dreams in every given day, which has been hard the last 3 years, let's just be honest. because we all spiritually, be it you're a TF or not, have been going through upgrades and changes. So theoretically, you know, you're looking at this like, you know, energetically, and this is also a knowing, you know, energetically it's coming, right? So it's 5D, then it's 3D, 3D. These two are 5D theoretically, alchemy and movement, Mercury and masculine energy, right? Team orientation, nodes in Gemini as well, but working together. A cycle coming to an end, Saturn Capricorn conjunction. It's like you're tuning into that, and stuck. Like, do I move? Do I do anything? Can I make any major decisions until then? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Now, they're crowning energy. They're manifesting. They've got this, right? But they've been working on things. Now, this is a 7, very spiritual. There's a 7 on this card. They're working on their internal abundance, their emotional abundance. They're being friggin' strict on themselves. So you may be looking at it like, this person's not talking, but in their own 3D world, they're being strict on themselves. So let's remind the cards. They would like to, but what they're currently dealing with, they're having a, they know that they're cramming a lifetime into a year, the work that they've been doing on themselves. They're not sad. They're moving away from any depressive energy. They're intuitively tuning. They've got melancholia in reverse when it does come to hopes and dreams, knowing exactly what they are. All right? So they know what these things are. They're in awareness. Communication, they know that they need to. They're passionate about this. They intend to. 2 of coins, right? What they put out is what they're getting back. So this can be karmic energy as well. This can be situations they're trying to tie up in a loose end sense. Also, again, their finances, but again, it's money and it's spirituality. Not selling their souls to the devil, doing things for a reason. A lot of healing in this area, tying up loose ends financially, emotionally, spiritually, and with people, places, and things. The strict energy, let's see what's going on with this. And I feel it's just in general towards themselves. Yeah, to do with things that they don't resonate with. So people that they have no faith in, they're moving away from these people. They don't want to deal with BS. They're awake, okay? They're looking at it. They know this. And this may be, yeah, turning over a new leaf, okay? The next card they've got is a bit of conflict going on, okay? They're being, okay. 2 energies coming through. One of the past, which is this third-party energy. For those of you who that resonates with, could be karmic, could be children, people around them, but it's also connected to you, where they didn't see the signs, right? Pushing, unreliable, when it came to love, when it came to people, the way they related to them, and the way they related to you, and vice versa in all areas. So really tuning into this and having a wake-up call with it. There also, any betrayals is coming up energetically, and karma connected to that. But it's also, if they've been working on this and they've turned over this new leaf, it's almost like, could you imagine? One minute. Okay. Now this is the card of jealousy, triggers. Also could be coming through in you guys, right? This is where third-party energies came through, potentially. But also the betrayal in it was not being individually themselves, but they're tuning into it. They're talking about this, and they're also knowing that you're going to want to talk about this, the past, right? They also want you to know that when they do come back, and they energetically do feel it. Okay, they already know this. They're not dumb, right? They know this. But there also is a situation that was playing out in their own lives very separately. A lot of conflict, okay? So those that are still connected to a karmic energy, there's a lot of conflict going on. But they're being very, very straight to the point. I'm almost feeling an Aries energy coming through, you know, Aries and Chiron, like a lot of, good luck to them. Yeah, not happy, like moving away from things that don't make them happy, a lot of healing. They're almost thinking that this isn't working. And I think something came up around Christmas. So if your energy shifted around Christmas and it was one vibration that moved, I do feel this has come up. Now, I feel as though what they're wanting to do is pick the pieces up and move away. But they're feeling this is a regular thing. They want the freedom from these toxic situations. And again, this is about pending change coming up with the 5. They're frustrated. Yeah, they're really frustrated. What's this faith energy in my reverse linking to? They want the freedom from these situations, but it feels like they had looped. Okay? So, trying to achieve consistency, certain people in their life, it's odd because you were this, divine feminines, but this is who they've had to be to karmic frequencies. And it's frustrating. It's almost like changing the hat. This one will fit better. No. Or changing the weather. In this weather, I'll operate better. But a similar thing, it's very karmic. So internally, if we have a belief system, we attract the dynamic. It's not intentionally. If you could directly pick the same person, but if your vibration changes, the whole scenario starts evolving. So it's about your vibration shifting. They are aware that there was a lack of consistency. They're also aware you're going to want to talk about these things. So they're energetically preparing themselves. Some of them are staging the situation for an exit so that this transitional state is moved. Some of them are going to feel they've run out of time and they just have to go because the energy is too toxic. Now, overall, moving towards you, it's because of that. The pause is due to that, right? So they're keeping quite private. They feel very fatigued, and I'd say this is ascension symptoms. They're very reflective, and they're knowing what the outcome is. They're knowing where they want to go, right? And they're also bored with what they're doing. And they know it's not forever. So I'm telling you, it's a temporary pause before they move forward. Future tense. They know that they're going to have to deal with this, and if they don't deal with it now, it's going to be January. So there's some external situations, and this can be whether you're in union or not. I read for the collective, so your energy, and you'll find some of you who are in communication and union, you're still going to get a similar energy coming through. So I don't tend to read for one pocket. Obviously, those of you who have evolved further, you know, you'll get these concepts more. For those of you further back in the journey, it can be a bit more difficult because there is the pain body experience and the codependent patterns that you're purging because you feel there's a consequence for an action. And the more ascended you become, you understand that that's not so. But it's part of your spiritual path. Now, the crowning energy, you've got the 6 of coins, okay? So this is where the vibration shifts. They also do feel as though they're running out of time. It's like foot in this door, foot in that door. Their foot's really not in the old door. Their foot already very similar to feminine is in 2020, and they're intense in their goals. But they know they're running out of time. So it can become quite anxious in frequency where you intuitively sense it. So if you are picking up on that frequency and you want to fast track it, breathe the energy out and ignore it. Because then they're not tapping into it like an umbilical cord of safety. They don't know, so the movement occurs. They're having faith in the process, okay? So they really do know that this is going to change. They also need to do the healing on themselves and balance, and they want this between you guys in 2020. But I'm feeling as though that they're getting downloads about you, and they know that you're really, really independent, and they're feeling this shift in your frequency. They know that they're going to have to put the effort in, and they do want to join with you, and they're going to have to cut through. This is really what they're wanting to do. They know these things, but they're going to have to be brave and deal with some of these habits that they've had, mindsets, conditioning, and situational things that have occurred within the connection with you. They want this to be more successful than last time, and they do feel they're going to have to change that direction. The change in direction is their mindset, okay? So I'm really feeling as though there is a dynamic coming up. Now, I'm going to explain. What I've been tuning into, especially with the masculines, is there's temple headache, there's neck ache, which is tension, and crown chakra. Again, their sinuses could be playing up, and they're more fatigued, right? With their fatigue, it's because there is a block in the road, and they're fully aware of what this block is. It's a part of the map of what they need to resolve or deal with. Now, this can be, again, connected to family or connected to money. What they're trying to do is, with this stagnant map that has been there, and it's cemented them in some shape or form, they're looking at it and trying to work out how to resolve it, but they're really not coming up with a solution. And they also know that they're actually running out of time with the situation. So some of these things, they're hoping that January will sort it and they'll deal with it on a bright day. Others are knowing that it's probably not going to sort. And I'm going to pull 3 cards for that. Past, present, future. Okay, they feel they haven't been able to communicate this truth, both to you and the karmic frequencies, okay, because this card's in reverse. Past tense, in general, communication. And the Mercury nodes are coming up in March, right? And that's to do with the Gemini Mercury nodes. The nodes in Gemini are connected to Mercury, which is movement, short journeys, communication, technology, throat chakra. So this is in reverse. In general, communication has been pretty choppy due to these situations playing out. Currently, where they're moving, my mental and emotional bodies are balanced. I attract nurturing people, which, what does that mean? People that don't resonate with them are going to be detaching from them. This is currently where they're at. Release heartache, grief, sorrow, and past relationships, currently where they are. Encourage lightheartedness and joy. Restore the balance, confidence, and emotions. Future tense. Jasper. My life glides forward with ease. I am mindful. I think and act with positive energy. Unlimited possibilities, which is almost the Fool card. Infinite possibilities. Relax into the flow of a happy life. What goes around comes around. Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Attract goodness and love. And they did have the card where, you know, they're planting seeds, but what we plant is what we grow, right? So with the pentacles on the card, it's like what we reap is what we sow. There is that energy. So it's old frequency, because as we start the new decade, we're having the eclipse in Cancer. We're having the energy of Saturn and Pluto with Capricorn conjunction. So it's all of these culminating at a single time, which can cause triggers. Definitely feminine energy. So if there is a feminine karmic and a feminine, mothers, females in general, a lot of healing there. Advice for feminines. Oh. I want to know what that card's about. Okay, your crowning energy. Again, this is very much connected to water signs, And I'm also seeing this to be to do with your emotions. The moon energy really governs that. So in a sense, the nodes in Cancer with the eclipse in January, there is an energy that is coming up where this can be to do with family and subject matters, okay? So there's a young woman in reverse needing, this can be an old energy coming back from the past, but I do feel it's an old subject matter that's being dealt with, looking at the emotions, understanding that the cup is what we feel, having that fresh start, but looking, so this is your mindset, okay? You're moving into it, it's advice. Okay, so any betrayal that occurred from the past, I feel this is more to do with the karmic partner, quite frankly. I do feel there's going to be a subject matter playing out, that this person is coming to you with their cup, because this really feels like past energy here, okay? A betrayal of the past, person is coming back. It might be in relation to children, again, with the nodes being in Cancer. This is water energy coming through. I'll pull another clarifier. And they're the conjunction, because there's the service card. They're going to want to work with you, but at the same time, this is going to cause something of the past is going to cause some disruption. All right, it's going to come back, it's going to resurrect, so it can be shaken up and moved in its correct order, compartmentalized, placed in the folder, placed in the inbox or the reject box, whichever one that's going to be, okay? You're trying to be very rational. You're guided to be very rational. Also be lighthearted. Also be open to it, okay? Then this is going to come up again, and this can be the conversational pieces together. Why didn't you invest in me? I don't understand. It's normal. It is normal. The conversation is going to come up, but clarity about this is going to come up. This can even be current people that are in union, reunion, where the conversational piece, but again, with it being reversed and it's 7, it's something, again, I'm still saying something from the past. This can be on your side, feminines, their side, and it's their side. But it can be a karmic on your side. But again, I am feeling more so this is masculine, a conversation occurring with masculine and a situation playing out in their life. I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Yeah, no longer wanting to deal with misfortune. A conversation might be coming up with a karmic, you know, really being, and they're being impatient by this. They're like, look, sorry, peace, let's love and light, let's move forward. Outcome. Yeah, they're being more rational about what they're thinking. They're like, no. Listen, Linda, no. I'm telling you, they're prepared. They're aware of this, even at an intuitive level. I just had this conversation with my friend. Okay. There is not a physical being who cannot achieve perfect health. So when you're thinking this can't resolve, dissolve, this is even their mindset with karmic. If I've done what I've achieved, and somehow they felt somehow in an umbilical cord sense they could have been enabling, they're also looking at it thinking, I've sacrificed myself for so long that you can do this too. So why is it good enough for me but not for you? So it's about them actually having to evolve, right? Because it can't all be one-sided, and that's with all of us as human beings. There is not a physical person, no matter what the state of deterioration, that cannot achieve perfect health. But that which you believe has everything to do with what you allow in your existence. So they're having this revelation. Like, wow, you know, and this is why I say being awake is a huge responsibility. We can say we wish we knew now, back then, but then really where we were energetically, these lessons, we wouldn't have been the people we were. So if we had that knowledge, we wouldn't have been able to deal with the challenges the way we did. So it was better not to know and to move through that energy, have that upgrade, do it gently. The more you know, more information is more responsibility. More responsibility is more power, but you need that education before you're given that power. It's a bit like presidents and power. If it's given to them, right, they haven't earned that power. So it's a huge responsibility. Huge responsibility. And spiritually spoken, Tess, it is a huge responsibility, because when you know and you've lived something, you know, in your early stages, you'll believe you know everything because you've experienced something. But then you do understand that lessons happen in life because the person has to live them, not because you can speak it to them. So you can speak to your TF, you can tell your TF, you can try and prevent them from doing things, but people don't learn that way. We all have our unique way. You can live by example and you can express it, yes, but you can't prevent those lessons from happening. So with wisdom comes power. My attention to lack of attracts more lack of to me. This is masculine thoughts. It's like I've been thinking I've been less, and all along I've been wanting less. All along I've been thinking this person was the victim, and no, I'm allowing them to be because I've been enabling them, and I'm not passionate about it. I've been focusing on their goals, not my goals. Feminists have done this. Okay, same thing. My attention to lack of attracts more lack of. Really thinking this is all there was. This is all they could have. And now the resurrection of that is they know more. I can choose in every moment a better feeling story. So this is them walking out of the dark. And in this card, it's facing the future, not the past. It's walking away from the past in the dark and into the future of peace. Any questions? Positive energy so far. Again, I will do more updates, and if I get any downloads, I'll come to you again. I'll write all the notes down as I get the downloads, because I've finished the videos now, so I can write the notes down. If I do remember anything, I'll put it in the community tab. The energy has been going up and down, though. If you want me to read that card. Okay. I am learning to catch any misalignment early. They've changed. So distorted, no. No, they're checking it. Okay, they're upgrading. So trust that. Any questions? Do we switch between demon and devil? Yeah, we do. But at the same time, sometimes you're tuning and channeling that energy. So we've got both in us. So that shadow, you know, if you look at your masculine energy, this read directly can relate to you in some shape or form in your work, in the way you're operating, in your hunter-gatherer mode, and the way you're looking at things. So potentially we're thinking we can't achieve certain things. Yes, we can have an imbalance in the masculine, an overactive masculine energy where we can be at times too dominant and not enough in our nurture, which is same for masculine. So it's the yin yang. We have it in us, as well as in a spiritual connection, you're directly telepathically linked in. Yeah, trust me. I know, Chris. Complex. That's why I'm saying it's not black and white. It's not just when they acknowledge it, it's going to be perfect. We're not in a fairy tale. We're in the real world. There could be children, there could be finances, there could be pain body experiences. We're human. Telepathic, we can read each other no matter positive or negative. Very true. But then even if you can, you do get to a point where you can also tune out of it. You know, and not needing to know. You know, but you don't need to know. If I haven't seen my teeth in 2 years, does this mean no? I mean, I had 5-year intervals, no contact. I didn't know I was a TF. Thank God. I was lucky. I didn't know what I knew now back then, because if I did, I probably wouldn't have done half of what I did. I would have been drinking pina coladas, having a holiday, saying, see you later. Yeah, no, time. 20 years for my journey, maybe more. Yeah. But everyone's different, right? It doesn't mean that my journey is going to be the same as yours, but I do notice synchronistic patterns, and detachment's the key, healing's the key. How do we know if a twin is good or bad for us? If you got a twin, they're your twin. You chose it before you got here. You have to be good to you. Because when we're saying if they're good for us? Well, guess what? That's solar plexus and the sacral chakra, and you can say no. It's a very magnetic connection. If they're teaching you a lesson and it upgrades you, great, healthy boundaries. And that's with anybody. But your conditioning and your healing to handle TF journey, you know, I would always say go for a counselling session. I mean, I've done mine through my clientele and through constantly working on myself. And also through different spiritual advisors. When I have a pain body experience, I stop, I look at it. So that you're actually disabling the codependent umbilical cord. How do we detach? Not feeling that you need to fix them, number one. Actually, when that comes up, look at yourself and think, why do you feel they need fixing? What are you avoiding within yourself? When you are getting triggered and you're enabling, look at why you're enabling and where that conditioning comes from. Because sometimes you can do it because you think you're holding up till they get to a point. No, there's no I in team. So again, it's a pain body experience. It's an egoic experience. Step back and allow them to sort things and move through challenges. And you might be scared because you're looking at it thinking it's going to take forever, but what's the rush? To learn a lesson, you don't have to repeat that, right? So you want those lessons to occur so you don't have to keep repeating the cycle. And you'll never come back to it the same. You'll always come back to it differently. So detaching is tuning out and really shoving the focus back onto you. I mean, that can be with everything. So it's sort of like a 3D relationship, but it's really not, because you have to deal with it very differently. You've got to deal with it from the point of view that you're twins, but at the same time, you don't own them. You don't own them. You are your own energy, and this would have happened in your own life as well, where people try to control you, manipulate you, put you in a cookie cutter box, and you've tried to grow, yet you empathically understand that inside TF, but you're not accepting of that energy within yourself. So it's integrating that energy back into yourself, so you're accepting of that. So it's two separate individuals living together, as well as, you know, having that dual energy. I've stepped aside. How do I stop thinking about it? You can't, but you can shift your energy onto things that keep you busy. So when the person tunes into you, breathe the energy out, blow it out. So breathe in and push it out and push their energy away. And the reason I say that, it depends on their frequency that's coming. And when they're tuning, but they haven't moved things in their life, by them energetically tapping into you, they feel everything's okay. So movement doesn't change. You'll know the difference because you'll be doing something, you'll be operating fine, could be hanging, washing out, and then you'll get a download and it'll be like, oh, I just felt the energy, but I was thinking about X, Y, and Z. Should we expect lots of negativity for January? More so for people that are lower frequency, okay, or haven't experienced upgrades spiritually. I do know the collective was going through an aspect of awakening this year. So you may have found with children and people to that degree, with the Schumann resonance, the astrology, their mindset and conditioning is really changing. But for twins, depending on where you are, look, one could say history could repeat itself, but we have no control over that. You know, astrologically speaking, the last time Saturn and Capricorn with Pluto, there was World War I, World War II, but again, Pluto's very, you can't really pinpoint when that exact time is going to be in a transit, right? Yes, it's making a conjunction. So it's inconsistent. Saturn's more consistent. Yes, various things, if we link back in history, there were changes. I mean, we do have crazy people in the world. Let's just be honest in that we have absolutely no control over, but very similar to codependent patterning. And, you know, some people on the collective will think about shit crazy. Because if you can literally understand that you can't control what another individual does, but we should not be in our ego to look at it and say, because they come from a particular culture, all that culture's bad. That's ignorance, okay? So disasters actually make people work together. There are natural disasters in the world. There can be global, you know, things that actually bridge people together. I mean, there's light and dark in this world, and it's reality. And it's been, you know, we didn't start the fire. It's been going on forever and a day. But how we come to the situation, it can be a bit of a rebel, so to speak, where we look at things differently in the way governments are run and the way banks and societies with the Capricorn energy. There has been, we don't need World War III. It's been going on for a very long time. People have been disputing. There's been, the Capricorn energy is about finance, government, infrastructure. Many countries do actually negotiate treaties based on, things that they use in their country. It's trade, right? So those subject matters can be coming up. While countries need each other and they bridge together, they operate. While they don't, and there is a conflict of interest, those things evolve and change, but they're happening behind the scene. And it's really the collective's belief is, the government's doing what they need to do and we're fine, but we also do have an accountable energy here where we need to look at things and maybe not be so ignorant at times where we think our voice isn't heard. But that's not to say there's going to be a revolt. Yes, there's been, in the world, we have had many years, terror attacks. Can we control that? No. We've tightened security and looked at things differently. As long as we're not operating from a place of ego and segregating, because that really causes problems, we need to be more upgraded, okay? So the upgrade of TX potentially is you guys are light workers. A lot of people are going towards chakras, crystals, and those are people that aren't TFs. So the astrology is helping us understand our symptoms. We're also understanding we are, in fact, energy. We are looking at natural remedies. We are moving towards organics, naturopathy, looking at global warming. Again, yes, scientifically we can, but now looking at the weather patterns and the way astrology is, yes, it can impact our weather planet, right? The weather on the planet. Solar flares can. We've also got, we look at the moon and we're like, oh, it brings the ocean in and out, and changes the ebbs and flows of our water, and we are water. But our ego then turns around and says, yeah, the planet can't do that. Aries, Chiron, Saturn, Pluto. Look back in history. How does it affect collective? How does it affect the mindset, conditioning? We have theoretically evolved through time. So the way we related to 9/11, for instance, would have been very different to how World War I and World War II came through. We had the empath. We had, some people were scared, more so after the fact. I mean, I can legitimately say where I was when that happened. And it was a deeply changing time in my life. And it can also be subject matters of that time coming up for you, not just the 9/11, okay? For me, as a multicultural person, I have a grandmother that was Christian, a grandfather that was Irish, very untraditional, okay, very taboo. My mother was Christian, my father was Muslim, and I have a Turkish name. I'm spiritual, but I don't fit into a cookie cutter box, and that's really what we are collectively, aren't we? We're human. But around that time, it took me back, which is interesting because I didn't know anything about astrology back then, back to the days of Hitler. Because having a name, you can't hide in the matrix, and around that time, you really had to, your name could actually get you in trouble. And that really did bring fear in me. It was like, what is this going to mean for me as a multicultural person with a European name? Am I in danger now? Because I am not that. I am not that one person, but I also do hold that vibration in my DNA. And different chakras over the world are linking in. I mean, solar plexus at the moment is Uluru as rock, which is very much to do with inner child. A lot of the elders, obviously, in Australia, Uluru is being protected. A lot of the connection of the Aboriginal people and their rights is coming back. But again, it's still not to bring that segregation. It's not to get to a point where, because we're evolving and changing, that we're not defined by the past and we're bringing that forward with us, okay? Just because things in the past happened, spirituality is, ego, religion, belief. We're one. I mean, we shouldn't be harping at each other and saying, this belief is right and this belief is wrong. No, it's a belief, and I respect you for your belief. But if you have to push it upon someone, which is very much about the healing work we've been going through, it's the expectation everyone's the same. What would that happen if we all were the same? We need the contrast in life, the light and dark, and the differing views, and really respect every culture and look at the history of it. look at the aura of the tradition that the people, you know, have in their food and their culture, and not define them by one subject matter that occurs. Just food for thought. Yeah, but I don't really worry. Like in the old days, yeah, you know, if I was a good girl, I was Turkish. If I was a bad girl, I was white. You know, and it's the same when it comes to Christianity. It's like I've always been very, very psychic, very spiritual. I never had the family really push me to be either or, but I always investigated it and respected. I respected culture collectively. I've got Indian friends, Chinese friends, Hindu, Balinese, multicultural. Yeah, and it's interesting because I did speak to a fellow friend of mine who's Aries, and you know, we had a really good talk, and there was a lot about, you know, the way Aries and Chiron at the moment for people that are Aries, really having the best of both worlds, you know, but you shining to a point where you're being yourself. You know, you're coming through and you are being comfortable with yourself, not being defined by maybe what mother, father, brother, sister, your culture, etc. wanted. You know, who are you? Can you be that? And is that accepting? Anyway, there was somebody who donated in the feed. Did you want me to answer a question for you, beautiful lady? Or are you just being beautifully generous for New Year's and Christmas? There can be negative aspects in January, yes, but I just want you guys to be grounded, be the light, and, you know, support the people around you if that does happen. That's all we have control over. We can't control what people do in this world. That's a reality. But the way we react to it, we can. Any other questions? And yes, we do have a few more spaces if you do want to get in before the end of the year, because I have actually unblocked my schedule because the videos are recorded. Yeah, just be yourself, Chris. You know, just do you for a while. And you'll find once my mindset was that at the end of 2018. And I had communication. I was like, I'm going to do everything that I'm going to reconnect with the world. I'm going to travel. I'm going to, you know, upgrade my YouTube channel and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Thought. And then there was communication. And I was like, change plans. Which I still have that intention. I'm still very much in my own energy. But we can't change the weather, right? So you go with the flow with what happens. But yeah, being authentic and really not looking at, how do I put it? Don't date. Why? It's like if you're going to have the ball and chain on your ankle, you best enjoy your singledom. We should have done that when we were younger, honestly. You know, and it was like just always wanting to grow up, all of us. I want to be a big girl and a big boy, and I want to get out of the house and have a relationship. And you know, probably the men didn't think that. They're like, I just want to drink with the boys. Now, Fem Coach, do you have a question? Or are you just donating out of love? I have a question. What do you want to know, lady? What's coming up for your work? Yeah, it's just accepting yourself in the moment. And hey, tomorrow that can change too. Just being really present of who you are. Why, when things are going so well, he's in what sense? So things get better and then the person comes back. It's about you then. They can be however they want to be, but you have to keep you on track. Don't let it derail you just because they come back all. Oh, we've been in here a long time, Aries chick. No. Okay. You're doing the work on yourself, right? So therefore the person's coming in. Now, what, in your opinion, is looking like it's sabotaging it? Because it can be a mindset, or you're feeling vulnerable because you'd like to focus on that over there, which is very perfectly normal. But why would you feel that that could take you off course? In the initial stage, yes, it did with me. It did. I was like, are you joking? I've got my shit together. Really? But it's not, because, you know, it doesn't even have to be TF. If something's going to come rolling down, it's going to come rolling down. How you directly relate to it is crucial. So healthy boundaries. I'm like, I've got work to do. I'll talk to you soon. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. What's been going on with you? Oh, okay. What are you going to do about that? And so the healthy boundary is actually with self, about how you navigate the situation. Did you trigger him? Not that you have any. Well, just, and don't stress about it. If the person got triggered, don't stress about it. You can't control that. That's a them issue. That's not a you issue. I just get through it. We'll have to talk privately about this. Yeah, we'll have a private coaching session, Perm Coach. Oh, I would say, yeah. What were you very much? I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and he's like, like I said, look what come through in the road. There's a lot of subject matters coming up, but don't get triggered to the point you're like, oh my God, you know, I talked and then they were angry. I'm never going to hear from them again. You're not that lucky, right? Yeah, it is different. Like, mine had been that long, but I lived life. So, you know, not knowing, I didn't have a codependent connection to on the TF. I assess situations in the moment and move through transitional states, and really, obviously, you know, you look at your child conditioning through your life. You purge things, you upgrade, you grow. He was doing the same thing. You know, we come together, realize some things needed to evolve. They were there, I was there, and living life. You know, things happen, but with a spiritual connection, you link back and you're like, how the hell is this happening? Yeah, there's a lot of sensitivity. Okay, I will do another update shortly. I am going to love you and leave you. If you do want a booking, you can go to the link below and go look at that movie intro that I was talking about. I think it's on Netflix and it's called Dark. Because just the actual intro into it, I'll try and find a link to it and I'll put it in the tab or the community. Because it's interesting the terminology they use in it, and it's very much almost a hint as to what's going to happen in 2020, I believe. Yes, which as you master, you are great manifestors, very scarily so. With knowledge comes great power. I did hear another reader say that, and yeah, 100%, because once you can learn to shift your frequency, you can, I'm not joking, you can do anything, and it's quite dangerous, some of the things you can do. Very, very strong, but you need to master it. It's self-mastery, which I will be talking to you guys in 2020 about, you know, your psychic gifts, how to enhance them, tools you can use to, you know, grow it. Things that you guys already have. All of us have it. We just haven't mastered it. Because you're doing it too much with the TF, not with other energies, but you have it. Okay, if you can do that with TF, trust me, you can do it with everyone else. And that's why everyone keeps, well, there's so many people. I find this really bizarre. You say that you see me in your dreams. I am so in awe. Why would you dream about me? I get these random messages. Oh, I had a dream about you last night. I'm like, why would you dream about me? That's okay, Fem Coach. I'll talk to you soon anyway. Yes, we need to talk. That seems, yeah, in the context of what was said, which I gather needs to be private. That's okay. Love and light, guys. I'll see you soon. Tomorrow I'll be back again to do the energy for the astrology. So stay tuned. I'll put a note up in the community tab, but it should be around 10, depending on how behind I get. But yes, we shall tee that up. I'll put it in the community tab. Love and light.